So welcome to another episode of the Before Skynet podcast with your host, myself, Mr. Rock, and today, going back in time, just like Michael J. Fox, but I'm not going that far. I'm just going to episode 1 where I had one of my most loved people who was on the podcast, has now come back for episode 10. She started out on episode 1 when we were just getting into this, and now she is back in the flesh, in the action of it. Adam, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah. Did you like the way I
I loved it very much. You're very sweet, very kind words. I'm not usually used to that, so it's a surprise.
Make you sick?
We'll find out.
Yeah. Okay, so as I said, it's been a while since we started episode 1.
I know.
And right at the beginning, it was just, I guess there were things going on in the AI and technology world that was blowing up. But since that first episode, so much more has happened.
Yes. In fact, when we first started, I think maybe collectively as the human race, just understood that ChatGPT was an actual thing and people started using it. No, maybe not even started using it.
Yeah.
But it had just sort of emerged from its technological cocoon. It was like, I'm here. Now what? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the way that it could affect things that would happen in the coming months, which a lot of them have.
Yep.
And now you're seeing, I guess not the aftermath because we're in the middle of it, but some of it, like the effects of that. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
Slightly terrifying, but also exciting.
Yeah. Bloody terrifying.
Yep.
As they say in the UK. Bloody terrifying.
Yes, and I think even the things that we spoke about back then, some of the things we talked about, jobs being replaced, how it affect different industries and things like that.
Yep.
I would say that we are now seeing that happening. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah. Certain little things are starting to creep in now in the background. Many people might not be tuned into it's actually happening, but there's a few instances which we'll talk about where I've seen, robots in certain places.
Yeah, like real world examples now.
Yeah.
What do you mean, actual robots?
Actual robots.
Like we're not just referring to Teslas. We're talking about actual robots.
Nope, not Teslas. So when I say actual robots, in terms of not necessarily the android or the humanized robot, but just standard robots like robots that clean the floors.
Roomba.
So moving from having in the house to now seeing them in department stores or grocery stores. For example, Walmart now have a cleaning robot. Okay. So, before you would see people when they were cleaning, they'll push the machine around and clean the floors.
Oh, yeah, like one of those big ones that go round and round.
Yeah, so it would hoover up the mess and wash it down as well.
Yes.
Well, now that person doesn't exist.
Well, they exist, they're just not there.
Yeah, they don't exist in that capacity.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so they have been replaced. I don't know to what level, but if you go to a Walmart, especially one that's just up the road, I'm not going to give my location, but most likely in a Walmart near you, it's probably happening. There's a cleaning robot that they have created. It looks like a normal machine, but what they've done now is they've humanized it or made it more tolerable.
Tolerable?
By putting eyes on it.
No way.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
So it looks friendly.
When you looked at it, is that the first thought you had? First you're like, it's a robot. Oh, wait, no, it's got eyes. That's a friendly robot.
Yeah. It's like, it looks like Thomas the Tank Engine in a sense.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
The way Thomas the Tank Engine's got eyes and a smiley face, that's what they've done to that robot that goes around in the store. And it's constantly going. And it stops for people. It works around people. I'm guessing it's running 24 hours a day or when people are in shopping. Yeah. And then probably at the end of the day, does a full clean, a deep
proper
clean.
one.
Yeah.
I feel like this sounds familiar. I've never seen one in real life, not in the wild, but I think I've seen like a photo of it or something. It's weird. I don't know how to feel about it because on one hand, it's efficient.
Yeah.
And apparently friendly because it's got eyes, and that's the criteria.
Yeah. And a smiley face.
And and a smiley face.
Yeah.
Sorry. So that's good, I guess. And then obviously on the other hand, because this is going to be something that we talk about, because we did the last time about jobs being taken away or decreasing or whatever, it is being eradicated because of that. And that's not a good thing. But at the same time, the person who was in that role, in that job, I don't know. I guess I'd be curious to know what they're doing now, because hypothetically speaking, I don't know if they enjoyed their job a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will give them a chance to then try and do something else. I am being a bit idealistic about it.
Yeah.
I am. But there's a reason why. I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for them that they don't have that job anymore. But I would like to know what happened to that person. Like, because sometimes corporations and stuff will retrain people themselves. I mean, not all the time. They're not that nice.
Yeah.
But if you take your workforce, if you're a CEO or whatever of a company, and you recognize that, okay, we're going to get AI in some capacity and it's going to affect lots of people, great. They'll lose their jobs, fair enough. But the thing is that they're taking away, or they're doing like the menial tasks.
Yes.
That, you know what, human beings, you don't have to spend your time doing that, don't, because even that human being, that person is probably capable of so much more if they have been given the right opportunity or, the chance to retrain and things like that.
I agree.
I'm just blue skying this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm throwing at you. That's the good thing, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully they're doing that. My picture is that job that has been now taken, sometimes those types of roles might be held by someone that has multiple jobs.
Yes. Yes.
They clean, they do this, and they do something else,
Yes.
or, whatever it is. So they're already at full capacity in terms of what work they can do. So even if it'd be great if these corporations were given the opportunity to upskill.
Yes.
It would be super good if then it doesn't have a knock-on effect somewhere else. So if I'm increasing, people in this department, does this mean that this department doesn't need as many people? So it can have a knock-on effect in so many different areas.
Yes.
That I'm assuming as well that a lot of these companies are testing the waters. Another reason why I say that, connect that to what happened 2 years ago, a year ago, where people were leaving their jobs like crazy.
Yeah.
And looking for new jobs. Yeah, and there was a spike in new jobs in the market or whatnot. And then what's happened? Now they're cutting back on so many jobs.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily that there's less jobs out there. They're just going back to where they were
Before
in the beginning. Yeah. Which for a company is probably a good thing because they can bring in a lot of people and sift out the people that just are not too good.
Yep.
And just keep the good ones.
Apparently that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you can pull people in from different directions. You can upskill them. If they're not that great, you're sending them back out to a job that no longer exists.
Well, the hope is that you wouldn't send them out to the job that no longer exists. Like, for example, in this specific scenario, the machines replace that person. If they were smart, if they want to keep that person because, I don't know, they've been there for long, whatever reason, they like them, and that's already someone you've hired, it's always easier to retrain someone or keep someone as opposed to firing them and hiring someone else again, because at some point, that machine will break down, will require some kind of maintenance. So 2 things from that is that you can retrain that person to hopefully be responsible for that. And secondly, that is a job being created as a result of the advancement in technology. Sorry, go ahead.
So when you say it's created, what's being created?
The new job, the new role, that possible role that might be someone who would be responsible for the maintenance and the upkeep and looking after the machine, because it's not going to look after itself. And you could take that example, you could extrapolate that and perhaps apply that to other robots.
Yeah. Yes, and I guess I could agree with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what I'm saying is that you're absolutely right. There are so many jobs that will be eradicated and some that will not be replaced. And in some cases, there won't be even a new role created for it. But when the first time, I can't remember what decade it was. I want to say 60s, but I might be entirely wrong. You know when ATMs became a thing? When ATMs started,
Yeah.
machine.
Okay. Cash machine.
Cash machine.
Yeah.
Cash machine, yes.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
ATM.
ATM. It's because I read it that way. They used to have tellers, which they still do. I think the example I was reading was, I think it was in the UK. It was a specific bank. They got rid of a lot of the tellers, and they managed to retrain almost all of them and gave them like clerical jobs, like in the bank. So they actually didn't have to fire a lot of people. So I think what I'm trying to say is perhaps is the perspective that you can take on it, right? Because as a result of AI and technology being a thing, more robots have been created. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But then there's been an increase in the number of jobs being created by IT companies where the roles are more focused on like robotic stuff and how to, things that require having knowledge about that and how to either maintain it, how to fix it, how to work with that.
Yeah, I agree. But what happens in the next 5-10 years?
I mean, well, I don't know the answer to that question, but sorry, go ahead.
No, you go with.
I suppose as long as there are robots that require people to take care of them and program them and look after them, there will be that job. The day that that's no longer required, I think we're all in big trouble.
Yes. If you relate that to computers, for example.
Yep.
So back in the day, if your computer went down, you'd get someone to fix it by replacing something in the motherboard or the processor or, one of the graphics cards or something like that.
Yes.
That doesn't really happen as much nowadays. Unless you're a gamer or you want to, the fastest machine and you're going to build it yourself. But most people don't do that. What we have nowadays are mini PCs that are all-in-ones or laptops.
Okay.
After a certain amount of time, 2-3 years average, with a laptop, what do?
Replace.
You throw away.
Yeah.
So there's less requirements for a particular person to repair that. And also they will make it so that machine will last averagely 3 years because they want you to get rid of it.
Of course.
So replace it with a new laptop, which was built by robots anyway.
A robot that was built by robots.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's having a knock-on effect on
yes.
like how good technology is will have an impact on like how much human interaction that's needed. That cleaner, for example, it could be something that every, 6 months they go around and they put a new cleaner in, pick up the new one, it goes to a center, they just change certain parts and they circulate it. Because that would be the most efficient way to manage something like that rather than waiting for it to break down.
Maintain it.
Yeah. So it gets done at a center where they get rid of certain parts and just put new parts in.
And then you're saying, presumably, that when they send it to the center, it's robots doing the replacement as well.
Yeah. Or it's just a piece that gets taken out, thrown away, put the new piece in, send it out. So it needs less manpower to actually, figure out what's wrong with it and change this and change that.
Yes, you're right. That's true. That could also happen. But then also the robot that fixes the other robot, who fixes that robot? Who looks after that?
True.
I think it depends on the level of investment into something. I think you are absolutely correct. And because of that, as a result of it, jobs will be eradicated. But then at some level, the bigger robot will need looking after. It depends on how much you've invested, right? Because like you said with the laptop example, why would I spend money trying to fix it if I could just get a new one? But then in other scenarios, like if your Tesla mucks up, you're not going to replace that very easily. This is the first thing that came into my head.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons right?
Yeah.
Another, if you continue the job line, admin stuff, yes, admin things will be replaced. Admin, I would like to think administrative tasks will be replaced. But as someone who has been an admin in an organization myself,
Yeah.
so I might be slightly biased, but I can tell you that that job was not just admin. Like there was a lot more to it. That when I think about it, a lot of the tasks that I did probably would be a lot easier now, actually. Just put it all in ChatGPT. But there is also a human-focused part of it because you are dealing with people and I was dealing with people. So what I'm saying is that they can replace those tasks, but perhaps if I was still in that job and that had happened,
Yeah.
I could use that time to do other things. And you know what? I always felt that in that job I didn't have enough time because nothing would get done. But that's what I'm thinking. So tasks will be replaced. But again, it is perhaps the responsibility of the individual, perhaps the responsibility of their manager, perhaps the responsibility of the company. How can we maximize this person's potential?
Yeah.
Because they're whatever good at what they do. How can we get the best out of them and not have to let them go? Does that make sense?
Yes. It makes sense in the old world.
But it won't happen. It's not going to happen.
But my question always is when people say that, things when things will be replaced or new tasks can come in. My question is for people to give me a real world example.
Where that's happened?
Yeah. Or any task that you've done before. If that was replaced, what else would you do in that role to make it better or to make the service better or to make sure that you still have a job?
Okay. Well, the closest thing I can think of, so when I started in sales, ever since I've started, and at, 5 years, things were pretty automated in terms of like, for example, if you want to send like mass emails to people,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that manually. I'm sure at some point people did do that manually because sometimes, I don't know, I imagine so before all those tools were around, right? What would they do?
Yeah, I guess printing press and
Their letters,
yeah,
their quill.
yeah. I guess there was some way of doing
Yeah.
something. Yeah,
Or perhaps, or if you think about even before, I have a really good example. Even before remote work. So when one of my sales was before the pandemic, and I was downtown, so the buildings were close by.
Yeah.
So we would walk to the meetings.
Yes.
Takes time, and some of these were just clients we already had. It was just like, just like check up on them kind of thing. Pandemic happened, everything became remote. And I'm sure like those things were already automated, the email stuff, but there was less of the walking around and doing all that and waiting for someone to show up and then going and sitting down. Oh, do you want a cup of coffee? Blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about stuff.
Yeah.
10 minutes maybe. That changed. So when you didn't have that, and then you could use Zoom and things like that to, I guess not automate, but it is technology, you would get more out of those meetings, right? And people would only book meetings when they would have the time to, and it was more just get down to business kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can see that as a difference. And then again, the sales automation, when I think about if that didn't exist, I actually don't know how I would do my job.
Yeah.
It is such a massive part of it. Go ahead.
So let me pull you back a few steps.
Okay.
So when you were going to these meetings,
Yes.
and you would have a coffee or you would, grab something to eat and then when the pandemic hit, the impact that it had on all those businesses that catered for the people that would go to different offices and have meetings and things like that. Like technology and the need for us to be able to continue working from home, new applications, new ways of communicating were created by the people that are already skilled sets of people that were doing this. Whereas when it came down the line to the service providers,
Yes.
so many went on the
Yeah.
and what was the impact of that for them? It wasn't like, I own this coffee shop, for example, and it goes down. Like there's no one to upskill me,
Okay. Yes.
There's no one looking out for that person.
But you're talking about that happening as a result of the pandemic?
Yes, as a result of the pandemic, but the need for technology to speed up and increase.
Because that happened as a result of the pandemic as well, you're saying?
Yeah.
The need for technology to speed up.
Yeah. But now we're in a position with AI,
Yes.
which is in itself potentially a pandemic.
They're listening. Don't say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something that's going to impact the world on a more extreme level so fast. And that's another thing. The speed in which things are going to be happening, is it going to enable people to have enough time to catch up?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't think so. Because things change day to day, week to week. So unless you're really keeping up to date with it, which it seems is impossible because so much information, no,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So at that point, you know, if things are moving so fast, new technologies, new ways of doing things, new processes, and you're trying to learn that, especially if you're an outsider and you're not even in the industry yet, you don't understand the industry.
Yes.
For you to get a step in there, if you're not in there already.
Yeah. Like if you're not tech savvy.
Yeah.
I agree. But also people who, and even now, since the birth of ChatGPT, one of my friends, because she has her own business and I keep reminding her, oh, it can do this, it can do that, like menial tasks again. She's like, oh, yeah, can't be bothered, don't want to have time. Oh, it just seems like such a hassle. The thing is, like, she is tech savvy in the sense that she knows how to make it useful.
Yeah.
Especially people like that. It's like you have the chance, you have the opportunity. And she has her own business. Like, if I was self-employed, I would be on that. That scares me.
Yeah.
Because I don't actually think she sees the proper value.
Yeah. Until it comes up and slaps her in the face. I think that's one of the key things.
Yeah.
On that same note, when we think about all the industries that are being impacted and so on, there's one of the areas which is the actors and the writers.
Yeah.
You know,
they're both on strike.
They're on strike. Yeah. So that was related to the impact of ChatGPT being used to create scripts and content and things like that.
Yes.
And how they feel, I guess, that isn't fair. But it's here.
So I'm aware of all these things. Was there a real life example? Like, did it actually happen that someone used AI to create either a script for an episode, whatever, and then as a result of that, a writer wasn't able to do that role? Did that actually happen? Or is this a preemptive strike where they're like, it might happen.
Yeah.
So let's just stop doing our jobs and... I'm not sure.
I don't know if there's been a specific case.
Okay.
But it's, can you write better than an AI? Can you use AI to write better than the next person? So when you think about that, it might take, 3 weeks to write a script. Yeah. When you can use ChatGPT or one of the other large language models, LLMs, that could create it for you in 20 minutes, or not even 20 minutes.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah.
Like 30
You might have to keep prompting it to get what you want out of it. So it could take you a day to write a whole script, where it might take you, weeks, even months to write a script for a movie.
Yes.
So even there, there's so many new applications and platforms out there where you can just type little bits of information and it will start creating and creating. So for those people, I understand their fear, and they're probably the only way they can, go against the machine is to protest. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
By doing what they're doing. But at the same time, I hope that if they are on strike and they're not writing anything, they're learning about ChatGPT and AI.
Yes.
And how to use it in their best.
I agree.
Yes.
Well, yes, all the points you made are very valid. Well, first thing, I guess the definition of better, I don't know what that is. It was better for me, might not be better for you. And writing, when it comes to, it is a form of art. When it comes to things like that, there's not really quantitative measure, you know? It does depend on people's opinion. So whilst ChatGPT may create something grammatically correct, even it has created things, because I've tried prompting it just to see what it could give me, and it's actually brilliant at it.
Yeah.
But there is that difference. And then the second thing you said, which goes hand in hand, is, you know, it's only as good as the input you give it. So...
Well, yeah, in the beginning,
I would be interested in the results of this experiment if, you know, professional writer, someone who writes scripts for TV shows and films, and myself sat next to each other, and they're like, write us an episode for, even like if you name a show, for example. It'd be interesting experiment if both of us put prompts in there and the scripts came out, and, you know, give it to someone to like blind test it, which one's better.
Yeah.
I wonder which one the person would choose. And then keep in mind, from person to person, that choice would also differ.
Yeah.
So there's all of that happening. But at the same time, with the writing thing, I think, again, and what you said, I hope they are learning about AI, because whilst they're not working, if they're using AI to write the scripts, they're basically proving their point, which is quite sad. You can use it to enhance that, you know? I've tried... What I tried, I was like, I think I put something in ChatGPT to give me an idea for a short story. And I gave it very, very basic details.
Yeah.
And it gave me like a paragraph, like outline. Now I can use that outline and I can, again, expand that into something. I can even write a paragraph and put it in ChatGPT, and perhaps I can be like, well, make it a bit more descriptive. Give it this kind of tone.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I think that's allowed. So, you know, I hope that they are using, like you said, that time to... enhance their skills. They're using ChatGPT, because if this is the thing that they're scared of, like it's going to take over our jobs, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Like, well, why? What's so great about it? And you might get some value from it.
Yeah. I do feel that, I don't like to say this, but the time is almost up.
Writers.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Because here's one thing that I saw, which was, and a lot of you may have watched it out there, Black Mirror, Netflix, episode 1.
The most recent season?
Yes.
Where there's a TV show about the woman or something? Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, when they got to that point where they went to see the head of Netflix, and she showed that for everybody, there was a specific show for them, about them. Yeah.
Yes.
Once you get to the point where technology is able to write you content that it knows you want, you don't need anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah. Images are now at a point where you can prompt to create images, and now you can prompt to make video. And it's getting increasingly more detailed as the days go.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you bring those two worlds together, or interactive gaming as part of that as well, the data and information that they've been collecting about us for years, now they're able to use that to say, I know exactly what you want.
I mean, I'm glad someone's going to tell me finally.
Yeah. And then individually, for every person, there's a TV show, there's a game show, there's a comedy, there's this, there's that.
Yes. I mean, sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah. So, you know, all these people that were there to be creative, I think when there's people out there looking for that, to be potentially disappointed, you know, by a film. Like, we've all watched a film and thought, oh, this film's going to be great. And then at the end, it was like, oh, what the hell was that? You know, if you want that kind of experience to not know if you're going to like it or not, yeah, maybe, you know, you could watch something that was written by somebody else, but it also can be the show that was generated for you, for example. I might say, let me watch your show that was generated by AI.
For me.
Not a real writer, yeah.
But you want to, you're saying you're going to watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to be, you know, I want to be dazzled or shocked by, you know, what entertains you. But when the system is creating that, You know, you still get multiple levels of entertainment that's been created by the machine.
And personalized for you.
Yeah. Personalized, non-personalized. You could get a film that, you know, to shock you.
But
Something that you wasn't expecting. You know, you could tick the boxes and it will create what you want.
So you could tick the boxes. So it doesn't have to be just things that it knows that you will like. You're saying that potentially in the future it could be customizable to the point where you could go on Netflix and be like, well, you know what I like. Why don't you play something for me that I'm not going to like, or I'll be pleasant, like shocked by? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
I wonder why you would choose that option though.
You ever watched a film when you got to the end and you're like, oh shit, I didn't think that was going to happen.
I watched one recently like that. I don't even think I can talk about it. It's all kinds of mental.
Yeah. So even that shock value, the fact that you didn't know it was coming and you wasn't expecting it, you know, that could be part of the tick box options that you
But
have.
it knew you like that.
Yeah. It knows you would feel.
You'd be shocked in a good way.
Yeah.
So it's okay. The reason why I'm asking that, okay, so you have this thing that personalizes content to your thing.
Yeah.
So I think the danger of that, you know, when you say it out loud like that, it sounds great because, you know, which one of us hasn't gone on Netflix and scrolled through endlessly, be like, oh, all of this is crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, on the superficial level, sorry, great. You'll have all these things to watch that you know that you're going to like. The danger with that is it's all the same thing again and again. You're not actually expanding your, I guess not knowledge, but you're not expanding. You're not trying to you're not trying to watch different things. You're not trying to, and you don't have the chance to then explore and discover other things you might like. You're encasing yourself in that bubble where great, you have that satisfaction that every single thing I will watch will be something that I like. But then there have been things that I've watched that perhaps I didn't thoroughly enjoy, but I did get some value out of it at the same time. I wouldn't watch it again, but I can see the value I got out of it. So that's one thing. And then the second part of it is also, you know, there's a lot of it that it is done for the purpose of like, it's meant to be art. Because that's the, you know, the writers who are part of it, the director, that it is a piece of art. And not all films.
Yeah.
If you are, as a person, looking for that,
Yeah.
then will you be just as satisfied with AI-generated content if you're trying to find that human?
I think that art or that need to be educated or knowledgeable is something that's been dying for years.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because if think about before MP3s, yeah, when we had CDs, before that tape, before that, you know, records, and before that, I don't even know. But a lot of times you get a new album, you'd sit down, you'd open the booklet, you'd read about who produced it, who wrote it, where it was recorded. All the information was like a part of the entertainment. So you cared about that. Nowadays, people don't really care unless it's someone that is known for creating blockbusters,
Yeah.
or, you know, real great music, or then we'll connect the names. Oh, that was such and such. That was such. But outside of that, like, we may cross the path of this particular producer many, many times, but we don't know. But if we were reading it, it's like, oh, such and such did this. Oh, they did that. Oh, okay. They're very, what's the word? Expansive, or, you know, able to touch many different areas of music. Yeah. So you get more of an appreciation for them. But now it's kind of like, well, I like this music for 5 minutes. Next. Short-term
satisfaction. Yeah. Perhaps we've already, you know, encased ourselves in that bubble, because that's what happens nowadays. Short-term satisfaction, and you know, then that's just going to make it worse, because then you don't see beyond what you like, and this is what algorithms are on like YouTube and things like that, because you keep getting suggested things that it knows that you will like. You don't have the chance to explore anything else.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a one-dimension kind of person, which I think is quite unfortunate. So if I had that option, I think I would, you know, sometimes I would like that, but I think I would still like to stick to what I'm doing now.
Yeah. Going to HMV and...
Yeah, too much. Go to Blockbuster? No.
Yeah.
Too much.
You get that option, you can walk around. Like, I feel
nice.
so much is now, the algorithm knows us enough to send us enough of what we like. And just to make it look authentic, we're going to send them some stuff that they probably don't even
they care about too much.
Yeah, so it makes it look like everything isn't, focused on delivering exactly
maybe. I mean, Netflix isn't horrible at that. I mean, it never suggests anything good for me, despite all the stuff that I've watched. So
yeah,
I'll stick to choosing my own and going on Rotten Tomatoes and being like, what's it rated?
Yeah,
I like doing that.
But then who's writing the reviews?
People.
Are you sure?
No.
Who's writing reviews on Amazon and things like that? There's some scams around that as well. Like,
are you saying there are actual scams around that?
About reviews on Amazon and stuff?
Oh, they're fake.
Yeah, and how they connect other products and
amazing
into a whole new
world.
Yeah, to think about.
Like the Aladdin song.
When something has like 4,000 reviews,
don't buy it.
Double check, because those reviews might be not even real.
Think critically. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go click on the user's name and stuff and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it says verified. I watched a YouTube show about it and like how they create all these fake accounts and reviews and they pay people for products. Also, that's a big one as well. You get a free product, write review, get a free product, and they make it so it doesn't. I think before they tried to make it as though you couldn't tell if that person was giving it for free, but now
you can tell.
Yeah, they note it.
Some kind of ethics.
Yeah,
I don't know how long that's going to last.
Yeah, but how many people squeeze through that?
Yeah. See, this is where people, when they try to take advantage because of that, that's the kind of stuff that annoys me.
Yeah.
But then, the writers' strike,
mm-hmm.
and, and also historically speaking, writers have gone on strike quite a few times because they don't actually get recognized, even before they weren't. So maybe they're a bit more afraid. I can understand that. Yeah. But again, try and use it to your advantage. And it's easy for me to sit here and say that, obviously. But the actors' strike, I mean, who's even noticed?
And I know relating that to the Netflix episode is like your likeness and it being created without your consent.
Yes.
And what type of contracts? Like in that show, she signed a contract, which was like
that they could. She didn't read the T&Cs or something.
Yeah, the terms and conditions of what she was signed, and it had all this stuff that allowed them to take a likeness. And that happens in the music industry already.
Well, now that they have ChatGPT, if I ever got a contract, I would put that in ChatGPT and be like, summarize this for me in like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Pick out the most important points about this.
Yeah, I don't want to read it. Yes, in the show, that's exactly what happened. But with the strike thing, apparently, again, I think it was a preemptive strike, it feels like. And sometimes I think people just, okay, let's just go on strike because we can get something better. Mm. I can even understand that greediness because it's not like actors get paid enough, Depends
who they are, innit?
No, that's true. That's true. But the ones that you see complaining about it on like YouTube and all that social media, of course, are going to be the popular ones. And you're just like, you want to get paid more than $20 million. How do you know they're not
sticking up for the little guys?
Well, why aren't the little guys with them in the videos?
Because they're not known, so they're just taking up space.
Give them some exposure. But so apparently, what I've read anyway. So I mean, if someone wants to fact check me, they can. But this is what I read: is that they didn't actually go ahead and they didn't say that we're going to use the likeness without compensating them or without their consent. Mm-hmm. But I think again, it's the case of maybe they got a bit freaked out and they were like, "Blah." But I think they have another added agenda. They want to get better contracts in general as well, because it's not just we're worried about this.
Yeah.
I mean, they could not, a lot of them, the famous ones anyway, they could not make another film for the rest of their lives and they'll still be all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it might be just a guarantee. Sign me up for a contract that's going to be for the next 10 years, for example.
Something like that, yeah. Which
so means I will have work even when AI comes and takes roles. You're going to have to use me.
Yeah, but the reason why I don't think that that's going to impact that so much, because then even if they make an entire film using just the likeness of actors and actresses, just all AI, everything in it is AI, and people will go watch it and be like, amazing. I think there will still be some purists, and we could possibly be one of them, be like, no, now I want to go watch a real film with real people.
Yeah.
I bet you that would happen.
Yeah.
The same with music, because they
can
can
see
make
that.
music now using AI and stuff, and
Yeah.
some of it sounds all right. You can go online, there's a website, you can do that yourself for free, make a track.
Yeah. Well, when the purists get duped,
Yeah, I could
then they're
do.
gonna be like, oh, you know what? I
Maybe.
thought this was the real person. It isn't the real person. How do I feel about myself? How do I feel about like how well I can, distinguish between this and that? Is the world real? It just opens up a whole, reflection of what they thought about themselves.
That's true.
To be part of it.
And to answer your question, the world isn't real.
The Matrix.
But no, you're right, because deepfakes, some of them look real. Even the photos.
Yeah.
I took this quiz where it asked you which is AI generated, which is real. I failed
Yep.
it. So
Yeah.
I don't trust anything on the
Yeah.
internet. And then what if it makes one of you or one of me?
Yeah.
That is terrifying. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying this because I want money or anything like that. It's just that's scary.
Saying that, this is going off topic a little bit, but I saw this this little short video about this guy that saw Jeff Bezos on the street, right? And he spoke to him, and there's one bodyguard. You couldn't really see much other people around him.
Okay.
But he was close enough that he could have a conversation with him.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, is that really Jeff? Does he have a lookalike walking around
Yes.
to make sure if anything happens, it doesn't happen to the real Jeff?
I would do that if I was him.
Yeah.
Since, people don't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the
that's a good
likeness
one.
can be in any form. Who knows what?
That's
they do.
true. What if someone gets plastic surgery to make themselves look like a famous actor?
Yeah.
Is that
Face
illegal?
Off. Remember
Face
the film
Yeah.
Face Off?
It's becoming true.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Whoa.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of as far as, concerns about jobs being taken, I mean, I feel like the people who are making the most noise have the least amount of risk. I don't mean the writers, I mean the actors. You'll be fine. I think they will be. It's ways away. It's ways away.
Okay.
And actors can be in plays as well. It's not just films.
How about musicians? What happened when at one point for certain musical instruments, right, needed actual person who had the knowledge and skill set to perform,
Yes.
right? Say that was for 40 years ago. Yeah, you needed that.
You needed that 10 years ago, no? I think you still need it now, depending on what kind of music you're trying to...
Well, not really, because there are applications
Sorry,
that
yes.
will mimic,
Mimic.
yeah,
Yes.
the realistic
Sound.
playing of a specific type of piano,
Yes.
or people playing guitar on a keyboard.
Yes. Yeah.
There's
That's been
all
around
these
for a
ways
while.
to
You're right.
there's all these ways to manipulate, not having to use a real musician.
Mm-hmm.
But we've accepted it now.
And yet there is still a lot of music that is being produced with normal instruments. I mean, the Rolling Stones are planning on putting out an album.
Who are the Rolling Stones?
I feel like you should know. No, never mind.
like the young people that are growing up now, the Rolling Stones are stuck with a generation of people who are, gradually getting older and older.
But they're still making money. It's they're still. I don't know. I think there's some younger generation that likes them as well.
Yeah, but if you look at the people that were born, say for instance, I don't know, 10 years ago, do they care about real live bands?
But the ones who are 10 right now, I don't think
Yeah.
they care about most.
All their music and what their idea of music is very different to what it was 40 years ago.
That's true.
So it's going to get to a point where they're not going to care that this is a real musician, just like the generation that are
Yeah.
going to see computer generated films,
Yes.
I'm not going to care about that
Yes.
being a real actor, actress. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. You're right, because when that becomes normalized,
Yeah.
that's all you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about MP3s now.
Yeah. Exactly.
That is
So
scary.
I think it's interesting, like on many different levels, how we look at it and we can judge it. But yeah, I think it's just going to be time
Yeah,
that dictates what's really going to happen.
that's very true. And I think another downfall of that is, I mean, there's already so much stuff that's created, whether it's TV shows, films, and stuff, in a year, in a month, and whatever. It's so much nonsense. Like,
Yeah.
just quantity over quality. That's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
He's so oversaturated. So maybe that personalized thing is, I don't know if that's good or not, but yeah, it's just going to become worse in that
Yeah.
respect too.
I think the personalized thing is going to be good.
Mine will just be horror films, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be even better if they could be like, sense like what your mood is, by like saying your vital signs or something, you know? Like Alexa or Google, whatever, whichever one.
Yeah.
What do I feel like watching today? Play something for me. That would be game changer.
Yeah.
I don't even have to think about how I'm feeling. It knows.
Yeah.
I'd like that, actually.
You would like it?
Yeah. Why not?
You're always getting what you want. Sometimes
Sounds
it's
horrible.
yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes not getting what you want makes getting what you want feel even better.
better. Well, but maybe you can program it to be like one day out of the week. Don't make something I like.
Randomly
Yeah.
on Sunday night.
Don't tell me when.
This is your night.
Not on a Sunday night. But yeah, that's a good point as well. Get used to that. But see, that's where I like exploring and finding new films and things like that, and exploring new genres and being like, oh, I'll try this. Maybe I won't like it. I enjoy that still. When I get tired of it, we'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, we will see. I'm not very. My views on the future are very dark.
Yeah.
Super dark.
I know.
But the more we shine some light on it, the less dark it will be. Okay. So there's another interesting area which I think is really super cool. When we're relating just from Netflix and giving you what you want in terms of entertainment, but the gaming industry is taking a big change
Okay.
and giving people something totally different that wasn't experienced before.
Okay.
And I guess it's been experienced but limited. So you have role-playing games, yeah, and you talk to characters, and usually you'd have a list of options of what you could say to that character, and there'd probably be a short script of what they could
Yes.
tell you, because you could ask that question, you get the different answers.
Yes.
Now they're incorporating these LLMs into these games, so they can be a script or a storyline, really in-depth storyline. Rather than having a script, the characters within the game can respond to the players in many different ways, and the real-life player, can verbally ask the character questions.
Oh, so not like a pre-scripted.
Not pre-scripted.
Ask pretty much anything.
Yeah, by anything.
Bloody hell.
And is able to communicate certain information that they might be requiring about the game or about the person that they're looking for in a game, or what happened here last week, or it's able to give real detailed information on many different levels that's unscripted.
So I could just like walk up to like an NPC and be like, "Oi, wanker,"
Yeah.
and it'd be like, "What you call it, a wanker?"
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's
Like
you say, it's incredible to the fact that these characters just do their own thing. So it's like the Matrix within the Matrix.
Oh my god, it's like what it reminds me of, like role playing games. Well, I don't know why I want to say The Sims, because it's simulation. But then also think about the fact like the replayability of that game, because I mean there are games I played more than times I care to admit, but imagine that.
Yeah.
Because presumably you'd get a different it would depend on your character, like your character, not yours, but the character you're using.
Yeah.
And then the choices that I'm assuming if they've made that will affect other things, because that's what usually happens in games.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person's response.
Yeah.
So because there's not a script, there's just a storyline that the game has to adhere to, but everything else is kind of like in your control-ish.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're like living out a film or something.
Yeah, exactly. Living out a film for real. But you're the star.
I love this. Has this actually been happened? Have they implemented it in a game that you know about?
I don't know a specific name of a game,
but
I've seen them. You know, they're creating these games that do that now.
I need to find that and play that game.
It's amazing, like the way that they communicate with the characters in there. And it's not even like the type or select certain questions. They say it. They speak to it.
Like you feel like you're talking to an actual person.
Yeah. And this was something I saw probably 2 months ago, 2 months ago.
So God knows where they are now.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That's funny though, because obviously you know it's a game, but you want it to feel real. You want it to mimic real life as much as possible.
Yep.
That is really cool.
Yep.
I don't know this thing existed.
Yeah.
I start playing video games again.
And just imagine when you relate that to the metaverse and then you are virtually in that space and you're living, like you take your headset off and you're back here, but then when you go back in there, it's a whole world that hasn't been scripted. It's just...
That's scary though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because the metaverse obviously already exists and people meet in there, other people and blah, 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 blah. How much of that do you think like desensitizes a person from, I don't know, just real life?
Yeah. Because there's people that live, if you think about those gamers that non-stop play games, you know, they take a break. Some of them don't even work. This is their life. They get money from their parents or however they make their income. But then the rest of the time, it's just they're in this world.
Well, some of them probably get paid for they stream and things like that.
Yeah.
I wonder eventually in the metaverse, maybe it already exists. You can because you're living out a different life. You can have a job in the metaverse and that's how you get paid.
Yeah, just imagine.
I think it will happen.
Yeah.
That's
I think
insane.
it will happen. If you're some type of coder in the metaverse fixing a platform that other users are using, but you have to go to work in the metaverse.
That's what I meant. It could be any job. It could be like a real life job, but in the metaverse. Yeah. And because you're not actually doing it, maybe it's a lot more fun. I don't know. Like it's, I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know. Is that good? Is that a good thing?
I don't think it's a good thing.
Eventually, people will just be sat in their sofas with the thing on and
headset on, dripping arm.
I'm at work. Don't bother me.
Yeah, you don't have to eat or anything. The drip's feeding you. You could just be in the metaverse. And if you think about that, and you connect that to what was in the Matrix, how they had these people in these pods, these embryos and stuff in these pods that just lived in.
They're like batteries.
Yeah. Lived in the Matrix. It's coming.
It is. And maybe that's what they put in there. Well, they did, right? Because they're in the Matrix. Mm-hmm. I guess that sounds all right if you actually are conscious of,
You're
what
okay
the reality
for that?
is. Well,
for them to just use your body to, I don't know what they want to do, but.
In this example, if we're saying that I actually don't know, because hypothetically, we could be the Matrix right now. I don't know that that's happening to me. As far as I'm ignorant of it, I have no idea how that feels or how horrible that is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, not that I'm saying this is, it could be better.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I don't know.
Well, what are they doing with your soul? I'm going a bit deep there about souls and stuff, but, are they taking your soul then? Like, your soul exists, I feel, to live in the real world, but then you're just encased in this.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there must be some aspect of your soul that's here, and we're still assuming that we are in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Because, I'm able to have, connections with other people, and I can feel that I am a person. So whatever they've done is really good.
Yeah.
It's a good program they're running.
Yeah. I want out, please.
Pull the plug.
Yeah.
I've got to find Neo first. That's how it works. But yeah, no, You see, with most things that we've spoken about, it's always a double-edged sword. I think, it's up to us. And by us, I mean just maybe humanity, because I know, we have to deal with it. They take the good and the bad and then actually understand its capabilities. And I think we even talked about this last time, is that I still think we need to be careful about what we're doing, what advancements are happening. I think before we get to the point, we need to think about what's going to happen, what is this going to affect, what are the consequences going to be.
Yeah.
And we're still not doing that.
Yeah,
It's the same thing as Jurassic Park all over again.
Yeah. But on many other levels, we're all responsible for doing something, right? If we're, if we think, okay, this is happening, all right, who's ready to stand up and be the renegade and go against the machine?
Not so much going against. I think just collectively, I don't know, just even like, so when you're saying all these things have happened so quickly over the past few months, they'll continue to do so. There's someone, people are making this happen. It's not like AI is developing itself. I mean, obviously the LLMs are learning, but people are working on software and this and that for it to happen. It's okay. Yeah. Take a breather. Let's try to process all the stuff that's happened.
But how are we going to make people take a breather unless you fight against the machine? Because they're saying, this is where we're going, this is what we need to do. And you say, no, I think we should slow down. No, we need to go forward. Because if we don't, such and such is going to take over. This country's going to do this.
See, there you go. That's a good point you bring up, because now it just feels like it's just an arms race.
Yeah, it is.
Which is unfortunate. Because again, something that can potentially be used for the betterment of humanity, and it's already shown that it's beneficial to us and you can use it in that way, again, becomes like weaponized in this way.
Yeah.
Because I think the common factor in that is people, unfortunately. But this is the bad side of it.
Yeah. I'd love it to be all, cotton candy and Fruit Loops and I don't know where that came from, but just for it to be fun. And pretty and...
Well, contribute to good things.
Yeah.
Stop spying on each other. Just be friends and you don't have any secrets.
Yeah.
I sound like an idiot.
I don't know how we would get to that point, but...
I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Yeah. So these governments now are starting to listen to, make it look like they're listening to, these tech giants.
Yes.
But realistically, what are they planning to do? Is it now having to understand that AI will be some form of currency? So if you have money in it, and you're a part of it, and you're generating, then you have power. So if governments don't start aligning themselves with what's coming, then where would the money sit? Where would the power sit? I know a lot of it is outside the government anyway, but it's going to be an increasing gap where these elites will be able to control even more of what's going on.
You're referring to the tech giants?
Yeah.
Yes, you're right about that. Also, they're the elites, but then the people who run the government are also elites. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think if there's some part there where both of them are trying to, be honest and try to regulate and do all that stuff, I still think all of them have their own agendas. I don't think any of them are quite concerned about how any of that will affect I guess you can use the ordinary person.
Yeah.
I think they very much have their own agendas, and it's how they can benefit themselves. So when they talk about government regulation, I mean, I don't even know what that means, because so far what's happened, I think it's 7 or 10 countries where ChatGPT has been banned. That's what their government thought was regulating it, which obviously it isn't, because you're still cutting off something from your people. Yeah. Right? It's preventing them from doing something, preventing them from being better. So I don't know. I don't know, because they all have their own agenda. So do you trust them to...
Yeah, and who's to say, is it going to come down to the point where, you want to create something AI-based, you need to have an AI license.
Oh, God. That's interesting, actually.
Yeah. Because who vets you? Who says you should and you shouldn't? If you're a criminal or you've had a criminal background, does that mean that you're not allowed to have an AI license? Just like in the US, if you're a convicted felon, for example, you can't own a gun, for example. Just
Right.
just putting it like that is kind of like restricted who can have and who can't.
What's the criteria?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have enough money to do the testing? No, you cannot have.
Yeah. Do you have enough money to pay for the license to renew it? See,
Yeah.
this is what a government and those tech giants would do.
Yeah.
And that in itself should be legal because you cannot and should not limit the use of information and knowledge. And you shouldn't do that. But they, again, want to monetize it, first of all,
Yeah.
want to limit it, to control
Yeah.
potentially people, the masses, population. That's what they're good at.
Yeah. So part of it is really, good in terms of like not allowing, certain people to create platforms or, artificial intelligence that's going to, create havoc or
Yeah.
mistakenly
Yeah.
create something that they thought was great but hadn't
Yeah.
done enough testing that now it goes rogue and causes other problems.
Are you just referring to what's going to happen in the future now?
Yeah, if we don't get regulation. But then having a regulation cuts down on people's ability to actually develop
Yes.
because they don't have the resources to do,
Yes.
the basics that's required from them. So
Yes.
it then, as I said in the beginning, the AI and this new technology being currency, because if you own
Yes.
it, you have the power to create more from it.
You're absolutely right. And then and also to make things worse, that imbalance of power, money, where it is, remains.
Yeah.
If anything, makes it worse. Mm-hmm. So they're not helping, essentially, if this is what they're trying to do. But I don't know what the answer to that is. Then you don't regulate? I mean,
Yeah.
And your point earlier about if someone makes something out of it that could potentially harm. We've talked about AI before. It's probably capable of, eventually when it advances or whatever, probably capable of making its own decisions in some respect. And I don't think it's going to make a difference if someone creates it. And we've already created it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's more to add to that. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like the foundation of it is already there.
Yeah, I guess when it comes down to when they become autonomous and what's the word?
Sentient?
Sentient,
Yeah.
where they will understand what is good for us, or we've made them understand what is good for us.
Mm-hmm.
But then, having that control to the point where, okay, going a bit further now, when we think about, I believe so many jobs are going to be lost within the next 10 years.
Months.
Yeah. Things are going to look totally different.
Yes.
And we've heard about this, is it universal
Basic income?
Mm-hmm. Now, hearing about that sounds like, oh, okay, if no one can work, then at least everyone gets enough, money to live off and buy certain goods or whatnot. Now that works, but it has a limit, because if it's a universal basic income, basic meaning the lowest standard, right? Mm-hmm. People that have money, that have invested, that have, access to these higher platforms, they're not going to need that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it would be nice to think that, okay, everyone gets what they want or what they need. You probably get the basic of what it takes to live a standard life. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to be able to generate enough income to say, I want to go on holiday twice a year. Yeah. The basic income is probably going to allow you to go once every 3 years. Maybe, if that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whereas the people that have already invested in the tech are making money in the tech, because now it doesn't need people power. It's creating all the resources that we need already. But yeah, it's still charging the individual, because you'll be paying it with your basic universal.
Yeah, universal basic income.
Using universal basic income. Yeah. So those people still getting rich and still being able to do all the things that they want to do, where everyone else is flatlined.
Interesting.
You know?
Yes.
So in that, it may sound good to think that, oh, okay, at least I'll be able to live and survive and probably buy some, few bits here and there or whatnot. Or there's enough being creative for everybody. But still, there's still going to be things that you're not going to be able to touch. You're not going to be able to have.
Yeah.
Universal basic means you get one pair of shoes, it lasts you 6 months. You get this amount of food, it lasts you that. Live life. You're not going to die.
Who's defining these parameters?
Who knows?
But that's another thing, right? It depends what the standard of living they think is appropriate.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will argue going on holiday once a year is a standard that's appropriate. You should have enough for that. And as sad as it sounds to say that, I think people there nowadays don't even have the equivalent of that universal basic income. Like, that would be a step up the way things are going.
Yeah.
Not because of AI, because of everyone useless in the government.
Everyone?
Well, no, that's unfair. That's unfair. But yeah, yes, you're right. You're right about that. I mean, yeah, whatever the standards people decide. And yes, the people who have more will have more still. But then the problem they've solved is that, yeah, people at the bottom level have enough. There's still that imbalance. And even like without taking AI into account, I don't see any good coming out of any kind of solution that doesn't mitigate that doesn't decrease that gap, because the problem has been that. And now it seems that even with AI and technology, the people who already had the people who were already privileged in the first had the advantages get the benefits of another thing.
Yep.
And I don't know how. I can't imagine people not getting upset about that.
Yeah. Well, even though you're upset, what are you going to do?
I guess if you're having your universal basic income, if you have enough to survive, or I say survive, I shouldn't use that word, like enough to have your life, live a life, because people can't do that now. I think that should constitute you being able to buy something, buy a house, things like that. I don't know if it will.
Is buying a house
having shelter?
Not necessarily having shelter, but buying a house, is that like something that everybody should have?
No, but even being able to afford rent, which currently in Toronto seems impossible.
Yeah. Okay, I agree with you on that one.
So no, I'm not saying buy a house, but if they wanted to, even that's a right. I think that's a basic human right.
Yeah, but is it a human right to have more space than you need? Because if we relate that, I know I'm digging a little bit here, but if we relate the way we live in the West compared to other countries and nations around the world, like the way they live, to them it's good, it's okay. They enjoy it, but we couldn't live in their environments, their cramped environments that we feel is cramped, but to them it's just...
To them it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if we probably would be able to live with the standard stuff the basic that we get right now, living like that here. Okay. We could do that. But no one wants to live in, a house without a second bedroom or, 2 washrooms or,
I mean, it depends on how many people you have, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do know the point that you're making. But then I guess those people, the ones with the big houses, why do they have those?
Yeah.
They shouldn't have those either then. I agree with you though. And yes, it's different places, different things are normal. I don't know how you would solve that problem. Like, I don't know what the ideal house size is. I don't know how many square meters you can get. One person needs this much, so this house has to be. If there are 5 people, it has to be this big.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do something like that. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think the big house thing and all that nonsense, I mean, that's capitalism and consumerism for you, right?
Yeah.
Because you're programmed to think that bigger is better.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Not all the time.
Oh boy. But what if ChatGPT or the AI was able to answer that for us? You did a calculation and say this is how much each individual needs to live a healthy, happy life.
Amazing.
Well, happy.
Well, if you're healthy, you're happy.
Yeah, not necessarily.
there's a reason to be. And
Yeah.
and then sorry.
Yeah, it's a reason to be, but
Yeah, no, fair enough. You're right. And then also it would probably tell you, move out of the city or something like that because that's not healthy.
yeah, live in a tent in the
Well,
Greenland
Close to nature.
pastures.
Close to nature with the cows. And
Yeah.
Closer to nature. But yeah, I think that's something you could definitely use ChatGPT for. See? Useful.
Yeah, but I guess it all depends on how well it knows humans.
Yeah.
How well we've programmed it or how well it's programmed itself
Oh my God. Stop
by
saying
using
things
our
like that.
data. Yeah.
But again, I think that's useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is a language learning model. So
Yeah. It should be learning, but what is it learning?
this is we don't know. And I think by the time we find out, if it has something planned, it'll be too late. So I just, what's the point of worrying about it?
Yeah. Enjoy life now.
And just say thank you to Google and Alexa after you ask it to. Not tell it, ask it to do something.
Still doing that to this day. Okay, so, to put ourselves in the best positions. So we talked about like how governments and regulations and, companies having the upper hand, being able to control AI and things like that. And the universal basic income. Yes? I'm saying it right?
Yes.
A way around that, I think right now, is to start looking at the companies that we invest in. So putting your money in places where the future is going to create more of that for you, more money for you. So in addition to your universal basic income, you're going to have money coming in from companies that are AI companies. So they're creating all these products or food or whatever it is that we need, and still creating the need for that basic income that you get spent on that. It has to go back somewhere.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that will enable you to live a higher standard of living,
Okay.
because people talk about investing or putting their money into savings or pension schemes, that are government pension schemes or whatever. Where are they using that money? And is it guaranteed that, in the next 30, 40 years when you're ready to retire or whatever it is it still going to be there? And I think the way they've been talking about like how, there isn't enough pension money
To give out.
to give out. That's why they keep extending the retirement age for people. So instead of putting your money in there, you need to invest it in something that's actually going to be, we hope will be producing for us in the future. So investing into those companies. So doing your research and looking into where you want to put your money.
Yes, that's an excellent point. And then you said, so I'm assuming obviously companies that use AI, tech companies, but I think even with tech companies, you'd probably want to be a bit more careful because again, there's such an oversaturation of that. And the other thing, sorry, you said about pensions. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it part of it that automatically goes from your salary and you have no control of it? And the reason I'm asking that, is because I think that should be a choice that you should be able to make, though.
Yeah, but I guess it's like a tax, isn't it? Because regardless, like if you paid into government pensions for 50 years, unless you're married to that other person, you ain't getting nothing.
Yeah, and you don't get a lot back from what I've heard anyway.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like you're absolutely right. It's worthless.
Yeah.
Have you? I don't know if you have done any research. Do you have any on top of your head? Companies that you've researched or something that you would think would be beneficial. If you don't want to tell everyone,
I won't give specific names because I don't want anybody to invest in and be like, I lost all my money because Rock told me this or that. But
he's a robot.
Yeah, it was his company. But I would just say, look at companies that are producing the actual technology, not necessarily just the software, but also the hardware, the chips.
Interesting. Oh.
Or the circuitry or the, mining for gold and all those kind of components that are needed to create tech or to create the robots or to create the the graphics chips that they're using now to power, ChatGPT. Even though there are some companies that are using, I think they're using some different type of CPUs now to do the same work. So there's things like that are coming through, and you just need to, be aware of what's changing. So, there's been people that have started investing in the NVIDIA.
Oh, really?
Was it NVIDIA?
Yeah. Well, that is a famous one.
Which is the one that's creating all the cars. It's NVIDIA, right?
Yeah.
That had a sharp, yeah.
Yes.
And, everyone's still thinking, oh, this is going to be the company. This is going to be the company. And it might still be the company, but there's other companies that are doing stuff that are not necessarily, headline news.
Yet.
That we need to start looking at. And maybe this might be worth putting, I don't know, $2,000 in, whatever it is.
Like a few and, several.
Yeah.
Before it gets too expensive to buy shares in that as well.
Exactly. Because if you bought NVIDIA, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, your return on investment now is like through the roof. Same with Amazon. 10 years ago, you invested in Amazon 10, 15 years ago. Right now, you sitting on a gold mine if you put, I don't know, $5,000 in. You probably a millionaire.
Why didn't you tell me this 5 years ago?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't really into stocks and shares then. But now it's one of those things that I really think people need to start tuning their minds away from, savings and pension schemes, and these platforms are out of our control.
That's true.
Because they're managed by the government controls them anyway.
Yes.
And start, taking our own money and putting it into these companies that potentially will create an outcome and will create an income for us when the universal basic income
becomes
is introduced.
I completely agree. Yes. I mean, also probably would be nice to take this offline and talk a bit more about those because I don't think, I will do some research and talk to you about it later. And then the investing thing, there was people use ChatGPT again to basically ask it. There was a very famous case, and I think it's true because lots of people reported on it as well. Had $100 or something and asked ChatGPT about stocks and stuff as well, like predictions and things like that. That's another thing that thing can do.
Yep.
So maybe even use that as a resource.
Yeah, there's people out there that are using these platforms to do the investing for them.
That's great.
They're putting the money in, and the platform is trading for them on a daily basis, which I think is a little bit risky because the wrong bit of code in, or someone decides, you know what, I'm going to change this, or I'm going to do this to benefit them.
I think maybe
it's a bit dodgy.
I'll just ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to use one of those. Because again, there's a human being behind that controlling it. Isn't it weird? I'd rather trust a robot.
Yeah. But ChatGPT is still being, manipulated and developed by humans. Still gives restrictions.
That's true.
Still limits certain things that can happen.
But it's still the ability it has to analyze information better, more efficiently, faster than a person, and then predict things. I would still trust its predictions more than a person's, I think, depending on how much the investment is.
Yeah.
I would like to try that, experiment like, I don't know, $100,000 or something and see what happens.
100,000? I'll invest it for you.
Is that what you're calling it now, investing? 100 or 1,000?
Oh, 100 or 1,000. If I was at 100,000, it's like, hey, friend.
I'd be on a holiday.
Let's work on something. But yeah, I think it's really important.
Yes.
I think I've mentioned it a few times on the show before. I'm not saying I'm the greatest investor, I'm sitting here like I'm a millionaire or something like that, but I just really understand now the importance of knowing where your money's going and what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
How to beat the system.
Yes. And just be, like fiscally, knowledgeable, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many books out there, and there's YouTube channels, there's, all this information that's sitting there that people could access, but...
And there's ChatGPT.
Yeah. If you want to sit down and, invest all your time and energy in Netflix, 10 years down the line, hope Netflix is all you need to get by.
Well, if it's creating all this personalized content for me,
Yeah.
God, it's doing that on purpose.
But are you going to be able to afford Netflix? Is that going to be like a basic standard that you are,
I think at this stage, a lot of things that we thought wouldn't be basic standards, people
Yeah.
will probably fight for it. Like, no, that's basic. That's basic standard.
Depends on where you are in the world.
Yes, sorry.
Your government.
I meant yes. I mean, like in Canada, at least,
Yeah.
in Toronto, where we live. Yeah, there. In other words, probably not too much. But yeah, yes, I agree. And I'm going to take your advice on board and I'm going
Yeah.
to do some research.
Yeah, definitely do so. And the viewers out there, please take my advice. Not in companies to invest in, but do your own research and figure out what works for you. Yeah, and just take the time to do that, because I feel, 10 years' time, you're going to need it.
I agree. Yeah.
You're going to need it. Which leads me on to the last point. And, the viewers out there that have been watching, all these episodes and hopefully have taken something from it. I hope, they've been able to share information and advice with other people and got more people in understanding what's actually going on out there and had a chance to, access ChatGPT.
Yes.
I feel there are still so many people in a cocoon and don't realize what's going on.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Maybe we even alluded to this in our last chat, where when you're used to things a certain way, you don't want them to change.
Yeah.
But that's, change is the only constant.
Yes.
And if you try and prevent that because you're like, oh, it's a bit overwhelming and this and that, because it is,
Yeah.
but it's only going to get more overwhelming if they keep
Yep.
ignoring it. So, yes, you're absolutely correct. There are people like that. And I think if you're going to give people a piece of advice, it's probably to go and, it's not too late to start learning about what's going
Yeah.
on. And it's difficult to escape it because it is all over the news. So paying attention to that,
Yeah.
definitely important.
It's never too late
No.
until it's too late.
And, well, yeah, that it is too late. But yeah, and in simple fact about all the things that we've talked about how I don't think there's anyone in this world who has access to that kind of AI technology or that they can't find even one way of that making their life easier or better in some
Yeah.
way. So if you're not taking advantage of that, you're
Yeah.
missing out. And other people are not.
Yeah.
Simple as.
Yeah. And it touches so many different areas. The things that we'll be discussing in future episodes, like education, for example, how that's going to change big time because we have these models.
Yeah.
And the need to understand what's going on. Like you say, we spoke about governments, you got educational institutions. They really have to understand what's going on because
Yep.
their whole model is changing.
Probably a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I guess. Depends on how it's going to change, though.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. I mean, at the moment, a lot of times it's just a business. And I think
Yeah,
it would, it being taught in a different way, enabling people to learn in a different way and for them to practically apply knowledge as opposed to telling them theory. They'll have to, they'll find it challenging, but hopefully something good will come out of it.
Yeah.
Because they'll have to be creative, get creative about it.
yeah. Cool.
Definitely.
Okay, so we're about to wrap up right now. And this is, as I said, is episode number 10. It's been a journey. I'm glad you started and ended.
Thank you so much. I feel special.
Yeah, so you should. I feel special having you as a guest.
Thank you.
But to all the viewers out there, just, take in, not necessarily have to believe everything that we've spoken about today, but there are going to be some certain points that are going to impact your life. Just think about how it might impact you or others around you, and take the time to do more research about things that are going to be impacting you. And hopefully these episodes will help you in the next step before Skynet. Adam, thank you for sharing and being a guest, and look forward to doing more work with you
Absolutely.
Hopefully you'll do some more investigating and research and, share what you're learning with me, and then we can share with the audience, because I will do the same with you.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much for having me again. First and last. I love that. Put that on my CV. But yes, I absolutely will. Thank you. I always feel like I learn so much every single time we speak about this. And next time we're back together again, here or wherever, we'll have even more to share.
Definitely will do.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. So thank you all for listening, and hopefully stay connected and up to date with what's happening in AI technology and what's coming in for the future. I'm Rock. This is Anam. Peace. 5, 4, 3, 2.